Yeah, hit and go live now. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Brony Debates Live. I hope you're all doing well out there. We've got quite an interesting show tonight. So, a little bit of backstory here before we really get rolling is I've got with me my two very good friends, Skan and PonyCordero. How are you doing, Skan? And how about you, Mr. Cordero? How are you doing tonight? Yeah. Well, let me tell my story, and then you can tell me why you're furious. So, basically, what we've got going on here is Skan has never liked Equestria Girls. What have you seen? The first two or three of the? Oh, you've seen them all, and your opinion never changed. Right. So Skan always, I'm gonna say, hated Equestria Girls. And was conceptually against the idea of Equestria Girls from the very beginning. But Mr. Cordero here has always liked it. If I remember correctly, you came into the fandom through Equestria Girls, didn't you? Oh, okay. Okay, hang on. I'm just noticing now that we're not getting desktop audio from OBS. I'm very sorry. Bear with me. Yeah, it was working before the stream. Hang on. Let me it's got to be this one. All right, say something for me, Scan. Okay, nope, still can't hear him. Gosh darn it. What is going on? So I see you guys saying in the stream that you can only hear me. Yes, and I'm working on that. Um, what the heck happened? I might punt this and do a do-over on the whole thing. Oh man, what is going on? Why did all my settings change? Yeah, I can hear you in Discord just fine. Could it be this one? Yes, it would be a new link. Yeah, that sucks. So, all right, let me double check my settings here. Um, I see Colin Brown saying 2020 isn't done with you yet. Yeah, that's about right. Okay. Trying to get this figured out.
Warning,
Okay, so I was Scan, go ahead and say something.
Say something.
And Cordero?
Sunset Shimmer is the element of forgiveness.
Ah, there we go. Okay, so we've got it we've got it working now. I'm so sorry about that, guys. All right, anyway. So as I was saying, Scan doesn't like it. Scan said he saw all of Equestria Girls and his opinion never changed. Yes, the movies. And Cordero, I asked you when you came into the fandom, and what was your answer to that?
2012, right at the end of season 2.
Okay.
Is when I came.
Yeah, but you really like Equestria Girls, so can you give us like two sentences as to why?
2 sentences. It basically is an extension of the show proper, and it does just as good a job.
All right.
You said 2 sentences. That's hard.
Yeah, well, that's all I was looking for. So basically, we found out that these two were diametrically opposed, and so I wanted to see them fight. And Mr. Cordero wanted a fight as well. So here we are tonight. In this corner we've got Equestria Girls, and in this corner we've got Against Equestria Girls, and we're gonna put it to bed for the whole fandom tonight, right here on Brony Debates Live. How bad is Equestria Girls? And now, Cordero, you can tell me why you're upset. Because it
didn't
was,
agree.
it was
This is
something he
not the-
said at the beginning of the stream. You guys didn't hear him, but he's like, I'm angry. And I said, okay, once I tell my story, you can tell me why you're angry. So why are you angry?
This is not the title that we agreed to. The title was supposed to be Equestria Girls, Great Show or The Greatest Show. I am very much offended by this incredibly leaning title of how bad is Equestria Girls. We're just starting with a biased premise here. We clearly have a biased situation going on here.
Okay, but you're clearly getting ahead of yourself. You're assigning connotation where there is no connotation. It's how bad is Equestria Girls? I mean, 0 is still a number.
Negative bad. It's opposite of bad.
Exactly, which is still, on the spectrum of bad. But of course, when you get into negatives, it's good. Also, I will employ clickbait whenever possible, because it's my show and that's how I operate things. And hopefully, it gets in viewers. Sometimes it works. Sometimes we get 11 people watching the stream at the very beginning with technical issues.
Well, I can't blame a man for making a buck.
Yeah.
A Brony buck.
There you go. I knew it was coming. So, let's start with. I got to read off my Patreon list real quick. Thanks to all my my supporters on Patreon, especially on the $10 and up tier: Princess Heather Blossom, Shady Oak Ministry, Sid McConroy, Autoknight, Emerald Spencer, Sodden, Girder, Senko, Kyle Christensen, DJ Skywalker, Stephen A. Wilson, Rein-Kun, Princess Sunshine, Sparkle, Bootleg Bard, and Dark Malcontent, author of the Metaverse series. Check out everybody's links in the description. I am just tripping all over myself tonight. I started off on the back foot, but Skan, tell us why Equestria Girls. Tell us how bad Equestria Girls is.
Equestria Girls is a offshoot into a universe that has no significance on the main universe. It is a pointless detour into one of the mundane stereotypes in cartoons. And if I wanted to watch this kind of stereotype, I'd go and watch Recess or a good cartoon like that tackles it.
Okay.
It was just no good, and also just opens up more ways to look at the mistakes and stuff they made. I mean, in their regular world, you can look over things because it's a different world than ours. Once you bring it into a kind of humanish environment, then you can rip the show to threads.
And why is it that you can rip the show to threads just by changing the framing device?
Because now they're in a world with rules like ours, so when they break those rules, you can point it out. In their world, they do something that we can't do in ours. It's like, oh, well, that's Equestria.
All right. And Cordero, how bad is Equestria Girls?
It's negative bad. In fact, the amount of badness of Equestria Girls is about the same as the badness of My Little Pony proper. And the biggest reason for that is, whether everyone likes it or not, Equestria Girls is My Little Pony. It is that show. It's not just a spin-off or an offshoot. It's part of the whole extended universe. When they go through that portal.
Okay.
I'll agree. It's a stealer of resources from the show.
Stealer of resources. Yeah. The whole creative team, the whole writing staff, the animation, they literally stole everyone. It's almost as if it's the same show.
Yep, they could have put their efforts to better.
Well, what would you...
That's my biggest reason why I hate the show rather than just blah about it.
Well, what could they have possibly improved on in the show proper that would have been better spent? Why was it bad to use those resources on Equestria Girls? Like, what did we really miss out on?
We missed out on half a season. We missed out on a bunch of episodes that kind of seemed more lazy than the previous seasons, and some people said that's just how it was, but then the seasons after it seemed pretty to improve too. So it seemed to have a direct impact on the actual main source material.
Okay, and Cordero, what do you think about that?
So the idea that it took resources away from the main show, I mean, yes, season 3 was cut short because they were working on a lot of the Equestria Girls stuff, but after they got the initial flow of Equestria Girls, they made it so that it stopped interfering like that. But that initial interference, it seems like it was almost necessary because the show fandom almost completely imploded after season 3. And if you remember, that's basically right when Equestria Girls comes into the picture, is picking up right after Twilight became a princess. And everybody lost their flipping minds over Twilight becoming a princess. People were talking about leaving the fandom. They wanted to burn the whole thing to the ground. And if anything, Equestria Girls helped save the show. It helped keep
I
it
actually
going by bringing
disagree
something fresh
majorly
and
about that. If
It's-
you remember that time, the very thing about Equestria Girls was just as much a friggin' divide as the princess thing.
only before the movie was released. Only before release, not after.
You should listen to the streams after the movie. We were ripping each other apart after that. The ones who just liked it were like, "Oh my gosh, this is great," and the ones that were already had been talking about it was like, "Holy crap! All our worst fears came to life."
And the ones who liked it was definitely the dominant voice in the long run, especially after the second movie came out. But yeah, like Equestria Girls was a net positive on the show, especially during the Princess Twilight debacle where everyone hated that. Again, that was also a dumb thing for people to hate. Like people hated on Princess Twilight, and I think
they never justified that.
I think they really did, especially
I
in later
cannot
seasons.
see anything
Actually,
in the later seasons that would have been hurt by her not being a unicorn.
they could have held off. Like that's a different idea. They could have held off and had her ascension be later on, but her ascension was earned. You know, but I do agree because that was the big point people had is that Princess Twilight should have become Princess Twilight later in the series and not that soon. And I think that is a fair point. But after they did make that decision, I think that they went with it really well. And even up to that point at the end of season 3, I think she had justifiably earned the right to be a princess at that point in the story. And after sticking to their guns on that, I think they handled it really well. And I think the whole first Equestria Girls movie was part of Twilight proving that she deserved to be a princess. Was the plot of the first movie proved that.
So, as far as we can tell, Equestria Girls and Friendship is Magic proper, while they are the same canon, the same universe technically, they never really affect each other. Equestria Girls plays into Friendship is Magic a little bit, but not typically the other way around. So, does that take away from what Equestria Girls is or was, or does it add something to Friendship is Magic? So if they don't have anything to do with each other, why are they both needed? Okay, so Cordero, what do you think about that?
They definitely have something to do with each other. Like if by not affecting each other you mean they haven't shared major plots, like a villain crossing between they haven't shared any major arcs together, but they have shared characters because obviously Twilight went through the portal. Sunset has gone back the other way. Starlight Glimmer has gone onto the other side of the portal. There's been communication back and forth. So the two dimensions do interact with each other. It's not a lot of interaction, but it's definitely there. So I don't know what you mean by that they don't have anything to do with each other.
If I think what I think he's referring to is if you only watch My Little Pony and know Equestria Girls, you have no idea about Equestria Girls. All those crossovers you talked about only happen on the Equestria Girls side.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, yeah, you can watch all 9 seasons of My Little Pony and not watch any of Equestria Girls. That is accurate. It is standalone. But
And
also,
if you've never
Equestria Girls is standalone without My Little Pony.
Skan, what did you say?
I was saying that if there's actually not a single mention of Equestria Girls in the main canon of the MLP series. It's only the movies themselves who attach themselves to it.
I would agree with I would agree with Skan here, or more so disagree with Cordero, that Equestria Girls is not standalone without Friendship is Magic, because you definitely need to understand the characters of, like, if I had just watched Equestria Girls 1 without seeing a single episode of Friendship is Magic prior to that, I would be extremely lost. And then the whole rest of Equestria Girls is based on the foundation of the first movie. So it's just something I'd never be able to recover from. Yes, I would have still enjoyed the movies from a character and story standpoint, but I would have so many questions as to the lore and how the world is supposed to work and all that sort of world building that you can do over 3 or more seasons rather than just throwing me Enmedius Rex.
In that case, you would want to know what happened in MLP proper. Like watching Equestria Girls by itself, they stand alone because they make sense as movies on their own. And if you watch the first movie, you're like, okay, she's a princess from another world. But you're not lost without MLP, but it just makes you want to know what happened over there. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's not like the movies don't make any sense without watching MLP. It's just, oh, she's coming from somewhere else that I don't know about. And then the movie makes sense from there.
Well, that wouldn't even work because the Equestria Girls starts in Equestria in the pony world.
That's what I'm saying. It's showing you this other world very briefly, and then it's like, oh, she's moving over there. So from that, I'm saying from that point, you would be like, huh, I wonder what their story is over here. But you wouldn't be lost when she goes through the portal. You wouldn't be like, I don't know anything that's going on, because once she walks through the portal, the Equestria Girls universe or the Equestria Girls dimension is makes sense as it is. You just all you need to know: this girl is this pony's a princess, and she's got to get her crown back. That's all. You don't need to know anything else to dive into Equestria Girls. You can just go in blind from that. But it's great to have both shows, to have the context of both.
And Skan, what do you think about all that?
It becomes even more shallow than it was.
How so?
Because, yeah, she's running into all these characters that she already knows in the new world. They're alternates. And all people can do is semi-know that I guess the pony versions are kind of like these ones because I haven't seen anything to compare them to.
She meets them for the first time. Like,
I know, but it's referred to in the movie that these are the counterparts to her old world.
Oh, yeah, it tells you that. It tells you that they're like copies are the same thing.
But you don't know how much of a copy is if you haven't seen the series.
Right, you're because you're learning those characters for the first time, but this is a context of if you're watching only Equestria Girls, which I'm sure there are some people who have done that, but I think the vast majority of people who consumed Equestria Girls also consumed My Little Pony.
But your argument was that Equestria Girls stands alone.
It can, and it does, especially after you get past the 4 movies, because those first 4 movies that you said you saw, there was so much after those 4 movies. Like it kept going and going and going and became its own monster.
What do you think about that, Skan?
I'm trying to figure out what he says. What do you mean after the movies?
There's more than the 4 movies. There's 2
you mean
other
the shorts?
Yeah, shorts. There were shorts, episodes, and then entire mini movies that were released on. Actually, they were full movies because Forgotten Realm, the Cinema Girl one, the social media. There was 3 full movies released via a YouTube series as well, and then there was the shorts, and they built almost as much, if not more, screen time after the 4 movies than just the 4 movies.
The comics.
Yeah, I remember those.
I'm just talking about the animation.
I remember those, and I also remember Starlight Glimmer comes over, and she keeps making references to the main season without telling you what happened there, so you have no idea what's going on if you haven't seen the season that correlates with it.
Sure, but presumably you are watching My Little Pony. Like
but the argument is it stands alone, and I keep giving you these examples where you don't know if you don't see the main character, and then you're like, well, you're usually going to watch both together.
Yeah, like I don't think you'd be missing too much. This is such a minor thing we're going on. All I'm saying is I don't think you'd miss too much or feel too left out if you didn't have My Little Pony. But there's so few people that don't have both or haven't experienced both to some extent who have watched.
All right, so the next question I wanted to ask tonight, and we'll start Skan off with this one here, is what do you think of the idea that the alternate universes are copies of each other? Like when you've got, say, Pinkie Pie from Equestria or Pinkie Pie from Canterlot High. They both, look the same, act the same, things like that and they're copies. But if you take the Twilight Sparkle from Equestria, Princess Twilight, and you compare her to the Twilight Sparkle from Canterlot High, I should say, or Crystal Prep, they're very different characters. So, Skan, what do you think about copying and pasting the characters from one universe to another? And what does that decrease the significance, or does it add anything on to the story? What do you think about all that?
It kind of suggests that in the MLP universe, the alternate dimensions are just change around what types they are, rather than a more interesting multiverse like Marvel and stuff, where you actually have heroes become villains and switch things around. It's something new to discover, something to extend the lore and make it more interesting to watch.
So would you say that that the copies are in fact copies, or would you say they're different characters between Equestria Girls and Equestria?
They're equivalents in the opposite dimensions, and it's just kind of makes you go, if you're going to copy everybody, why isn't there a copy of Sunset?
Cordero, what do you think about that?
So the thing with them being copies is you got to kind of look at it as it's like looking at an alternate timeline.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't just change the being an alternate timeline. It's also a whole nother world species wise, which actually I think that makes it really interesting, because you have characters that are the same theoretically on both sides, but they have different experiences, so therefore they become different people. So you have very similar rainbow dashes on both sides, but one thing that is less similar is you have two Twilights that are a lot more different. Because Princess Twilight Sparkle went through a whole arc of making friends, becoming a leader, becoming charismatic, becoming a princess. So Princess Twilight Sparkle has all of this charisma and social credit and social skills that she built up on her own. But Sci-Twi, or Science Twilight, or Human Twilight, didn't have those same experiences. In fact, Science Twilight was suppressed more. Her personality was suppressed. She was even bullied a little bit, so she became more bookwormish and shut-in-ish. So when we look at Science Twilight in the third movie, what you're getting is a version of Twilight if she had gone through that experience instead of her becoming a princess experience. So you get characters that's like an alternate timeline, so where they're different and they're the same, and they actually fully take advantage of that and have fun with it. As far as there not being another Sunset, that one they haven't really explained, because I think the showrunners came out and said that there's not an alternate Sunset. I would have liked it if there had been one, or if we'd ran into it at some point. That would have been nice.
So then how does that make sense? Why is there a copy of everyone?
Well, we don't know. They didn't go over Sunset Shimmer's origin, so you don't know if Sunset Shimmer is from Canterlot, or she's from Ponyville, or where she is. I don't know why they didn't bother going into that. I think they should have.
They go all the way back to Sunset's fillyhood.
She lives in the castle, or rather, she was. What source material goes to Sunset's childhood?
Equestria Girls. It's Princess Celestia. She was her first apprentice, and they have several Equestria Girl comics and stuff when she's a little filly in the palace with Celestia.
I haven't seen the ones where she's a little filly. I've seen the origin. I own the origin comic where but she's already an adult in those. She's already the student in those. I don't remember seeing Sunset Shimmer as a child in any of the source material, because she has like a magic test where she makes a plant blow up really big. She's already full of herself. She's already awful at that point, and then she gets entranced by the mirror and she fights Celestia, and then she gets banished and she jumps to the mirror. Like her backstory has her already a grown up, so it's actually kind of mysterious where she comes from. But either way, I agree that's kind of a fault. I would have liked to have seen a human version, the alternate version of Sunset, and I don't know, and I honestly couldn't tell you why they didn't get into that.
On the when the show staff came out and said that Sunset Shimmer does not have a human equivalent, so there's not two Sunset Shimmers in the human world. It's because Sunset was always destined to become a native or a resident of, live in the human world permanently. That was always her destiny, so there didn't need to be two of them. Sort of a follow-up question to the one I asked earlier about the copying of the characters is, let's say you take Rainbow Dash from Equestria Girls and Rainbow Dash from Equestria, and you put them both in the episode The Washouts. You guys both remember The Washouts, right?
Which one was that again?
Was that Lightning Dust's alt team?
Yeah, where all of the people that, or all the ponies that flunked out of the Wonderbolts with Lightning Dust made their own stunt team. It was super dangerous, and Scootaloo wanted to join them because she can't fly, and it's a way for her to fly. And Rainbow Dash had to talk her out of it. If you put both human and pony Rainbow Dash in that episode, do you think all of the same decisions would have been made? Cordero, no. What do you think about that, and why?
No, because I said it in my explanation before. They've had different experiences. Like the Equestria Girls, humans, Rainbow Dash. It's shown that she has some type of relationship with Scootaloo, but it's not the same level of mentorhood, sistership in the Equestria Girls universe. So if you just plopped in a human Rainbow Dash, and she would be a pony, because they showed that when you cross the mirror, you become the pony, and vice versa. If you put her in there, her behavior would have been so different because her relationship to Scootaloo is different. I'm sure she'd pick up flying easily because she flies as a human in the show as well, but her flying experience would be different. She wouldn't be as experienced as a Wonderbolt at flying. It would be a whole different episode with completely different circumstances, because she's literally a different person, just with the same personality.
And Skan, what do you think about that?
I agree that it would be different, because I consider maybe Equestria Girl RD has maybe caught up to Rainbow Dash Season 2, but she's still probably like 7 seasons behind in development.
Okay.
In flying skill, yes.
Not skill, and just development and character and how she's going to be in total.
Incorrect. We know plenty about EQG. Again, there's so many hours of all of these characters out there, because you have the 4 movies, the 3 YouTube movies, and then the whole series.
Yeah,
so we do have plenty of information. We may not have 9 seasons, 25-minute episode seasons of information, but we do have seasons upon seasons worth of information about these characters.
We have several episodes where they cram all of them in at once. How many Equestria Girls do they focus on just one of them and develop just one of them? They're always together, so you have slower incrementation buildup than you would, as opposed to this main series where they kept giving them each individual episodes to build up and show us more and more of them.
That is true. Solo time is usually in the shorts, or it's in some part of the movie.
So we're in agreement that between Equestria Girls and Friendship is Magic, we are technically not dealing with the same characters.
Technically, yeah. I'd consider it would be like in a simile, you'd have, let's say, Equestria Girls Rainbow Dash is 20 years old, and the human one is 12-year-old. Not literally in contrasting, trying to figure out their age, but in their development.
Okay. So the next question I wanted to ask is sort of a 2-parter, but different in a way. So Skan, what did Equestria Girls get right? Like, what is good about Equestria Girls? There's no way I stumped you this easily.
I've only liked one thing out of all the movies, and that one thing, they could just keep the tune and change the lyrics, and I'd like it.
What do you mean by that?
There was 2 songs in the second movie that I liked, and I'm not attached to the lyrics in the songs.
What songs are those?
I think the cafeteria battle song, and then the battle of the band song.
Okay, and then all of it.
Not the finale, but the one when they're going through the brackets.
So there's
Under Our Spell.
yeah. So there's
Yeah.
no.
Battle of the Bands and Under Our Spell.
So there's no stories, no characterizations, no morals that or lessons to be learned from them that you thought was good. There was just 2 songs with catchy tunes. Is that what am I understanding you correctly?
Yeah.
Alrighty then. Cordero, what do you think about that?
Oh, his answer? Or did you want me to answer the question?
I want to know what you think about his answer.
Well, he likes exactly 2 songs and only for the music. So that's his opinion.
Mhm.
I'm sorry that that's all you got out of it. But there is definitely so much more to get and to enjoy there. Did you want me to go into that?
Yeah, sure. Take a couple of minutes to go into that, and then I'm going to ask you a similar question to what I just asked him. But go ahead.
Yeah, what Equestria Girls got right is I'll give you 2 major examples. The first example is Twilight Sparkle in the first movie. So the first movie is obviously all about Pony Twilight coming into the human world. And what's really great that grabs you off the bat about Equestria Girls is it's actually a new take. It's an interesting take on the isekai genre, and Equestria Girls as a whole is an interesting take on the on the magical girl genre. So it's not either or, it's kind of both, and it's also neither of them. Instead of some schlumpy, schmuck coming from the human world and going into a magical world and being inundated into it, it's the opposite. You have the magical creature with magical powers from the magical world being brought into the human world, the regular world, where there is no magic. And Twilight has to find a solution to her problems without using magic, the very thing that has carried her through most of the series. And remember how I said that the first Equestria Girls movie proves that Twilight deserved to be a princess? Well, this is how she proved it. Because in the human world, she couldn't solve a problem with magic. She had to use her intelligence, her charisma, and her leadership skills to do it.
I got opposition to that later.
She had to use her intelligence and her charisma to pull people together because she couldn't use her magic. So she had to use all of those friendship skills that she learned up to that point, that she had proven that she needed to be a princess. She had to apply that into human world. So that's what they did well with Twilight. And then in the second movie, you have the best redemption arc that My Little Pony has done. And in Sunset Shimmer. Sunset Shimmer was the weakest part of the first movie. She wasn't a very interesting villain. But once they committed to her turning at the end of the first movie, and now she's going to be a good guy, her redemption arc through the second and third and fourth movie is the best, is one of the best redemption arcs I've ever seen, and definitely was the best redeemed villain of all of My Little Pony. Because you have Sunset Shimmer, who was a bully in the first movie. She's brought down to nothing. Everything is stripped away from her. You learn from her backstory that that's happened to her before. That got stripped away from her when she was Celestia's first student. And so now, having hit rock bottom twice, she decides to become good again. But she doesn't just get to be a good guy and have fun. She has to go through the consequences of the evil that she did. She has to live with those consequences, and she has to re-earn everybody's respect and trust, including the ones who are willing to accept her as a friend. She had to earn their accept and trust. And then when you get to the end of the second movie, she gets to ascend back into having powers. She's now entrusted with magic again. So that's kind of completing her redemption arc. And then in the third movie, Sunset Shimmer's arc continues, because now that she's fully redeemed as a good guy, she gets the opportunity to redeem someone else. When Science Twilight falls into Midnight Sparkle, it's Sunset Shimmer who, at the climax of that movie, reaches her hand out to pull Midnight Sparkle back from the darkness. So she comes full circle and basically becomes the seventh element of harmony, which I would call the element of forgiveness. And yeah, so I'm giving way too many details, going too far in this one, but you get the idea. The second big thing that they did right was Sunset Shimmer, and I think a lot of people would point to Sunset Shimmer and say that that's really the shining part of Equestria Girl that stands out is that whole arc, that multi-movie spanning arc that they did so well.
All right, and now, Cordero, my question for you was, what did Equestria Girls screw up?
I got into it a little bit. They definitely fumbled Sunset Shimmer early. She wasn't super interesting as a villain. She was kind of a puppy kicker off from the start, and they didn't really establish what made her tick or why she was that way. And then, as I just said, they fixed that. They fixed it about as hard as you could fix it in the later movies. Equestria Girls has lore issues. It's one of those shows where if you think about the logic of it too long, it really does start to break down. It's one of those shows where you have to really suspend your disbelief and just kind of be willing to go along for the ride to be there, because you start thinking like, how does this work? Why is the kingdom of Equestria just a school over here? How does the government work? You like that kind of starts breaking it down, because that's not really explained or defined very well. But you basically just have to kind of let that go and go along for the ride, because remember, it's a magical girl series first and more than anything else. It's very much a magical girl series as much as it. Well, I was about to say it was a reverse isekai, but that's basically only the first movie. After the first movie, it stops being a reverse isekai. But this magical girl series, you just have to be willing to turn your brain off a little bit to have fun with it, because it does have some major lore issues. So I would say those are the big weaknesses of Equestria Girls.
A good magical girl animes fix their logic. They're not lazy like a whole bunch of just the pop ones. Madoka Magica and stuff really go into depth and actually fill out their worlds and try to explain what's going on.
Oh, they do, and then you have to go to your therapist after watching Madoka Magica. Like I like my magical girl series to be fun, so I will always take Sailor Moon over Madoka Magica because I want to have fun.
So I did. This might be completely unrelated, but I did notice that we called, or Cordero called Equestria Girls a isekai mixed with a Magical Girls series, but while simultaneously being both, but also at the same time being neither. And I thought that was really interesting because the first Equestria Girls came out in 2013, which I also, if I remember correctly, was the height of popularity for both Sword Art Online and Madoka Magica.
Good timing.
So I guess the whole world was just on the same page that year.
Well, also Hasbro went to DHX Studios and said, "Hey, this thing called Monster High is getting really profitable. We want you to take our biggest IP right now, My Little Pony, and we want you to crush Monster High. Can you do that? Can you stomp on Monster High with My Little Pony?" And then Equestria Girls was made.
Alrighty then. Skan, if you had unlimited budget and control, could fix Equestria Girls without getting rid of it entirely, what would you do?
I'm not sure how you could fix it. I'd redo it to a whole new world. They go into the human world, and either you need to switch it up some way. Either don't have the copies of the others in the world, and she has to learn to make friends with people she doesn't know, or you got to switch them around. Make Sunset Shimmer, maybe she stole the crown to protect herself from that world because the main six over there are evil. They're destroying things, and she actually needs to defeat her friends in that world because they're not friends in that world. Something. You got to twist it up. You need to make it interesting and probably get out of the school. Don't be a high school. Don't be, oh, we're going to class and all this. It's boring, and it's like every 90s cartoon there is.
What do you think about that, Cordero?
Yeah, I would say you just need to fix those lore issues. I don't think you have to reboot or redo it or make it like an evil world. Because again, we disagree on this point. I think that they did a great job. I would just want to clean up how the human world works a little better. What's the government system? Because that one high school can't be the whole government, but in Equestria, that is the government. And just give it more time to fix up that lore. Instead of it being shorts, I would want it to actually be full episodes or movies or whatever, but just do a format where you have time to actually develop out these stories and how that world works better. The thing that they did explain well, that got better as it went along, was how the ponying up or how the magic worked. Because basically, Twilight's crown leaked magic into the human world, so now there's equestrian magic over there, and Sunset Shimmer and the girls are basically trying to figure out how to harness and control this magic, and that's how, and their powers develop over the course of the movie. They did that lore really well, but it's like, how does the human world even work? That's one thing that I would definitely need to fix, and you could do that if you had more time instead of just the little shorts, to do that.
What do you think about that, Skan?
I still need fix. It needs polishing up. And they don't necessarily have to be evil, just change them up. I mean, how interesting would it be if she met Pinky in that world and Pinky was like a bookworm or something?
So personality changes as well.
Personality changes at least or something.
Hmm.
Don't have them be cookie cutters with a different shape.
Now, Skan, are you sure that wouldn't confuse the frick out of the audience that's already not sure what's going on if they're coming from Friendship is Magic? Like, that sounds to me like we would have the same problem of, like, let's say different iterations of the X-Men, where sometimes Cyclops is a really good character and other times he's, another Magneto and just going straight off the deep end and super bad at everything he does. So, what do you think about that?
Well, that works in X-Men if they go to an alternate universe and Cyclops is an evil Magneto.
Well, in that example, it's a lot less of alternate universes and more so of different writing. But what were you saying?
Because with that example you're giving, this isn't like they're going through the mirror and it's teleporting them to the other side of Equestria, and there's copies of them over there, and it kind of confuses you. No, they're going to an alternate world that you can build up and give more interesting storytelling than just doing a redo of the series with human characters.
Well, that's pretty interesting. What else you got for me?
Because
yeah,
as it is the first movie, I don't see how it proves that she deserved to be a princess, because she kind of just stumbles along doing the things she did to originally get to see her friends, and then at the end, once again, they just do the Deus Ex Machina, shoot her with a rainbow, we win.
She rallied the whole school with charisma. She had to not only make new friends, which were similar to her friends in where she's from, but on top of making friends, she literally had to make friends and become popular to solve a problem. Like, she was proving the other side of the equation that she hadn't proved yet. She had proven that she was competent magic wise. She'd been competent in magic forever. During My Little Pony, the regular show, she proved that she was an expert in friendship and could make good friends. And then in Equestria Girls, she proved that she could be a charismatic leader, because that was the only power she had, was through the power of charisma. She managed to rally the whole school behind her, which was culminated in the cafeteria song scene. That was the moment in the theater that we knew we had something special, that we knew it wasn't just going to be some stupid little spin-off thing. When that cafeteria song hit, that was the moment where Twilight as a character proved she has the charisma to corral people around her and really really show that she's a true leader. And the song was fun and it got everybody hyped up, and yeah, it was great.
I want to interject.
Why she deserves to be a princess.
I want to interject real quick here.
Let me tear it all down.
I want to interject real quick here with this food for thought, because it seemed a lot less like Twilight had charisma and a lot more like she was the only one in the school that was willing to stand up for Sunset Shimmer. So it wasn't necessarily that that Twilight was the better candidate. It was just that Canterlot High really did not want to vote for Hillary.
If you're the only person willing to stand up to someone, what attribute do you think is important to be able to stand out of the crowd and stand up to someone. Oh, it's charisma, isn't it? I would say that takes a lot of charisma to do that.
I would have said courage.
Especially because Sunset is in the entrenched position. And you have to get people to go against Sunset, who has the entrenched popularity position. That takes a lot of charisma to make people go against the grain of what they're used to, of what they're comfortable with. She had to get people out of their comfort zone and into her boat, and that's exactly what she did.
So Skan,
Why did she have to get those people? Why did she have to build them up?
To win the crown. She had to win her crown back.
And why did she have to win the crown?
She had to win the crown back because she was unwilling to steal it.
No, not just that. Why did she have to win the crown back?
Because Equestria would be in danger without the elements of harmony.
Because who would get it?
Because Sunset Shimmer would have it, someone who's very proficient with magic and could do a lot of bad with powerful magic.
So did she succeed by rallying the school to keep the crown from Sunset Shimmer?
Yes.
I'd say no.
She left with the crown.
She got the crown, and then Sunset just took it. So
For 10
what
minutes.
was the point of the whole thing to keep it away from Sunset? The reason she needed to rally all the school and not just get her friends was to keep the crown from Sunset, and she failed. The only thing she actually needed was her friends, and then to take the crown from Sunset Shimmer.
Well, hold on a second.
The school was irrelevant.
Well, hold on a second, Skan. It was because Sunset changed the meta of the status quo, I guess might be the right word I'm looking for here. But basically, it was a contest to see who could win the crown fairly, so that nobody would have to steal it. And then when Sunset lost, she took it to the next level. She stole the crown, and because she was willing to do whatever it took when Twilight wasn't. So when she stole the crown, right back then, everything changed. So if anything, we had to, from a storytelling perspective, we had to go through all of that to force Sunset into a position where she would have to then force Twilight into a position to prove the ultimate point of the story. So I disagree with you on that one, Skan.
Yeah, and until the moment where
challenging her after she won the crown.
Until the moment where Sunset lost, Sunset was still, and Twilight, they were playing the game of let's see who wins the crown by the popularity vote. Sunset needed to play the game trying to win at the fair way. That had to be plan A, because she's under the same rules that Twilight was under. If you steal the crown at first, you lose the school. And Sunset needed the school on her side as well as winning the crown. Just same where Twilight wouldn't steal it because she wouldn't.
She did not have the school on her side when she accomplished her plan.
She had blackmail and dirt on everybody.
She had blackmail and dirt. She had to do it by force. She wanted to win it the fair and square way because she wanted to have everybody already on her side. And when she lost, she had to go to her backup plan of I have to force everybody. Like that was the plan B out of desperation. It's like, well, I lost. It doesn't matter if I'm a bad guy or not. I have to force the issue now because it's my only option.
All right. So we're getting about that time here. I'd like to move on to the audience participation segment, if you guys don't mind.
Okay.
All right. So we've been getting some pretty good comments. A lot of repeat names here, but let's go down the list here. So Kenzie Hope Anel, which is a new name to the chat. I've never seen Kenzie in here before, so welcome, Kenzie, if this is your first time watching. She says, I can't wait for that dark and gritty Equestria Girls Netflix reboot in 10 years where everybody curses and smokes weed. What Skan, what do you think about that?
Fuck Celestia.
As long as they kind of made it into the kind of style of like Mallrats or something, then that could be a hilarious.
Mallrats? Oh my god.
Mallrats. Dark and gritty Mallrats?
Well, no. Mallrats.
She was talking about smokers and all that. So more of the late back teens.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Mallrats, but with magic, and I don't even know how to reconcile those two concepts. I don't know. That would certainly be a writing challenge for me. Okay, so what about you, Cordero? What do you think about that?
What, Mallrats Equestria Girls? Right
Well,
before it got
Netflix live action Equestria Girls adaptation.
I'm pretty sure that comment was memeing, but anything that keeps Equestria Girls going, I'm down for. It almost kept going. It almost kept going after MLP was canceled, but they ended up not doing it. So close.
Yeah, it's a darn shame. It really is. Paladin Pony T says, "Who is your favorite Equestria Girls ship?" Cordero. Yeah, what do you think about that?
Here is where I lose the audience entirely. Flash Sentry and Sunset Shimmer.
Okay, and why?
Well, that they actually did originally date, and then at the end, and then they ended up breaking up. But as you watch the movies in the series, in the Camp Everfree and the Legend of Everfree movie, you kind of start seeing their relationship repaired from the second movie on. But as you watch the relationship pair, they started hinting at the sparks of Sunset and Flash Sentry rekindling. He's going more distance from Princess Twilight as she's appearing less and less in the series. And then you start realizing, hey, Sunset's not evil anymore. And maybe they imply maybe there was something that was there all along. They ended up never doing it after that. But I thought that would have been a really, really cool direction to go, is to have Sunset and Flash get back together.
Skan, what do you think? Do you have a pairing from Equestria Girls that you can get behind?
The entire universe and a black hole.
My
One
dude.
kiss to end it all.
Oh, jeez. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Sunset Shimmer and a gun. That's his pairing.
I'm gonna
No,
defeat
that
you.
would still be a series. That's just because you
only
get a
one
story
bullet.
out of that. I want it all to end at once. Just kiss and oops, it's all gone.
I'm gonna defeat you with the power of friendship and the singularity that I found.
And this gun.
Yeah. I'm gonna interject on this one here. I would have loved to see Flash Sentry and Derpy, because every time Flash Sentry got shut down, Derpy was right there. She obviously cares about him and is low key stalking him, because she always seems to be right within the vicinity whenever these things happen, and she's just like, they're there. It'll be okay.
That's true. She was his crying shoulder.
Yeah. Let me see. So Paladin Pony T has another one. He says, how many Equestria Girls fanfics have you read, and which one is your favorite? Skan, do you still partake in femfiction?
Fanfiction now and then, but never Equestria Girl.
Okay, so the second you see the Equestria Girls tag, it's just off the table for you?
Yep.
All right, what about you, Cordero?
I've written Equestria Girls fan fiction. There's one that I'm working on right now. I've read a little bit, but it's been a while since I've read someone else's, and I can't remember any of them specifically. But yeah, I dive into that stuff.
Alrighty then. I've read a lot of Equestria Girls fan fictions. I actually, even before Equestria Girls, I tended to gravitate towards humanized art. Especially in fan fictions, because here's the thing. While I've always liked writing, it took me a long time to become what I would define as literate. I was just super slow at reading until 2012, when I had nothing to do but read fiction. So I got a lot of my reading practice in there, but with being such a slow reader, it was a lot easier for me to get through the story if I didn't have to imagine the movements of a non-humanoid figure. So humanized stories always worked really well for me. But all of that aside, the one that's jumping into my head right now when I hear Equestria Girls is a story called Principal Celestia Fights Monsters. Or hunts vampires, I think it was. Let me, you know what? I'm going to get on FimFiction right now and see if I can confirm this title. Principal
They couldn't get past the working title on that one?
Hunts vampires. Let me see if I can. No stories.
Princess Celestia : Vampire Hunter.
Principal Celestia. No, it's film fiction, so your title has to be like exact, or it doesn't show
No,
up.
I'm just workshopping their title.
Yeah, Celestia fights. Is it fights vampires?
I don't know. You tell me.
Nope. Principal Celestia hunts monsters. Let's try that. Still nothing. Okay, maybe it's not even there anymore. Like, maybe it got deleted, but that was something along those lines. And if after the fact I can find this story, I'm gonna link it. But it's basically, yeah, it's a comedy of like Principal Celestia is a monster hunter by night, and while she runs the school, and the school is actually like funds her hobby of fighting monsters, and Sunset Shimmer is her apprentice, and it's super funny. There's one scene, I think towards there's one scene in the middle where it's Rainbow Dash, Applejack, and Limestone Pie hanging out at the hunting store in the mall, and King Somber shows up, and he's a lich, and he's got everybody under a sleeping spell. They've got to take him out from a distance without him noticing them, or he's going to put them under a sleep spell right away. Limestone snipes him with Applejack snipes him with a shotgun shell from like 200 yards. And the way it was written was just very nice.
I assume it was a slug.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a buckshot doesn't even travel that far. But there was this whole thing during, like, before that scene of Rainbow Dash just not understanding how guns work, and she kept racking the shotgun. Which, if you know anything about shotguns, you're only supposed to rack it to chamber the shot. If you cock it again, it ejects a slug. So you're supposed to cock it to eject a used slug and then rack a new one. So she keeps ejecting slugs, and
Don't tell Hollywood that.
Yeah, and Limestone is just getting pissed because her and Applejack are the only ones there that know how to use a gun. And
that's really funny.
Yeah, towards the end, there's a scene where Celestia and Sunset are getting surrounded by ghasts. So they're like ghostly creatures that are allergic to sunlight, like they evaporate in sunlight. But they're trapped in a dark room. So Sunset turns on a floodlight and rips Celestia's pants off of her to then reflect the floodlights, the daylight balanced floodlights off of Celestia's extremely pale legs and burns the ghasts. And that's how they got out of that fight.
Heather Blossom found the fic.
Oh, let me take a look here.
Principal Celestia hunts the undead.
Hunts the undead, yes. And this is, that's the one. Go read that, it's hilarious.
I will. Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't get my fic posted in time for this debate, but I'm still, I wanted to have several chapters done before I actually put it up on FimFiction and Archive of Our Own and all that stuff.
All right. Let's see here. Kenzie again says, which is worse, Equestria Girls or DC Superhero Girls?
Is there a specific show called DC Superhero Girls? Or did
they make one? I think there is. I've seen pictures of it around, but I didn't bother watching it.
It was like Lauren Faust's project after Wander Over Yonder.
Oh, I remember hearing about that. I never watched it. I don't know at all. I'm gonna go out on a limb to say Equestria Girls is better since it's like my favorite series of all time. But super biased there.
I have no opinions. I've only seen pictures.
Okay, so Cordero already spent about 20 minutes answering Paladin Pony's T's next question, so I want to hear it from Skan now. How do you feel about Sunset Shimmer?
I don't like her much. She seems like she gets zapped by a rainbow, changes her personality, and they keep rolling with it.
I think it was a lot less of them changing her personality and her for the second, perhaps even third time of her life, just getting her crap pushed in and realizing, maybe I need to be different.
If I want to watch Redeemed Unicorn, I'd much rather watch Starlight Glimmer.
Alrighty then. Let's see here. Doughboy123X says there really needed to be more Pony World and Human World interactions. Hasbro is too cowardly. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I agree because the one where they were on a boat where they went on and then several of them of the girls from Equestria Girls they went into the pony world and they did a whole arc with them in there, and it also tied in the Storm King. The Storm King from the My Little Pony movie was a huge plot point in that, and that was such a cool thing, and it tied everything together: the show proper, Equestria Girls, and the theatrical My Little Pony movie were all tied in together. And I'm like, man, this is what we really needed, more of that, because that was so fun.
I thought the stealth mission across Ponyville to get to the other portal was funny as well.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Princess Heather Blossom says Glimmer sucks. Glimmer is worse. Is a worse sunset. That needs to be my next fight. Is I need to
Glimmer
put.
Is good.
Yeah.
I like Starlight. Obviously, I favor Sunset Shimmer as not though I like her better, but she has the better arc. Like they did the redemption. Like I said, best redemption arc in My Little Pony is Sunset Shimmer. Her turn was super fast. Sunset Shimmer's turn was super fast, and then they spent 3 movies earning that turn.
I'm getting real sick of you guys sleeping on Fizzle Pop Berry Twist.
She's great.
All right.
I would be down for more of her.
Mm-hmm. We got another one from Doughboy here. The last one of the night says, "I stand by the idea of Discord is the school janitor." What do we think about that?
I'm trying to remember if they threw. No, I'm thinking of Cranky. That they went with Cranky in the shorts.
Cranky was a math teacher.
Or he's over there. Yeah, that'd be fun. But I guess they decided to just not deal with that.
There was
fun if he was there.
There was a super funny comic by Utapo, and it was Twilight and Sunset talking, and Twilight goes, "Oh, what about Discord? Is there an equivalent to Discord here?" And Sunset has no idea who she's talking about, and Twilight freaks out. He goes, "We got to figure out where Discord is. He's an extremely dangerous villain in Equestria." And then the next panel is just some homeless dude reaching out for coins, and he's very obviously Discord. And he's like, "Got spare change?" Is like he's just sitting on the sidewalk in tattered clothes. Because yeah, a dude like Discord probably, he'd be one of two things in our world. He'd either be the crazy homeless guy that you see, walking up and down the intersections trying to get hit by cars, or he would be a politician. It'd be one of the two.
No, because I think he would still have a chaotic personality, but it would be interesting. How do you play that with no magic? There's no chaos magic. Like he would have to express his chaotic personality. So, oh god, he'd be the Joker. Oh my god, Discord in the human world is the Joker, or maybe like a slightly softer version, but that idea. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, and okay, so you know what? Let's have this one for the last comment of the night because I've never seen Andrew Blake in the chat before. So welcome to the chat, Andrew. And he says, slightly off topic, I'm enjoying listening here. Have you guys ever hosted a convention panel?
I have.
Yep. And so I have, and Skan has been on my panel. We've done Brony Debates live at a couple of different conventions. Cordero, what panel did you run?
Well, at the gala or at pony conventions, I've ran a Doctor Who's. I've ran a Doctor Who's panel. I ran one about how to become outgoing, like how to become a more outgoing and being more comfortable in social interactions. Mm-hmm. I've done, and then at anime conventions, I've done a Ruby panel. I've probably done 15 or so total in my life.
Geez, that's a lot more than I have.
Maybe 10, somewhere around that. I've done Final Fantasy. I've done fan fiction panel. That's probably what I've done most of. I've probably done like 4 fan fiction panels before.
All right, good stuff. So I think that's a good spot to end it there. I see you, Sunset Watcher, saying I'm new too. Yes, so thanks to everybody who came out and watched the fight tonight. I had a lot of fun listening to tonight's conversation and posing questions where I could. Skan, did you learn anything tonight?
No, pretty much already knew that I didn't like the series.
I didn't learn anything. I was right all along.
Yeah.
Cordero, what did you learn tonight? Anything?
I learned that Sunset Shimmer ascended to a princess at the end of the Friendship Games and is now an alicorn, and she's the element of forgiveness and the princess of Equestria Girls.
You know something? I hear element of forgiveness a lot, but in equal measure, I hear element of empathy.
Yeah, I've heard both. I toss around both.
Okay.
You could be like the element of empathy, the magic of forgiveness. Like you could be
I think the core 5 really umbrella everything pretty well. Kindness, loyalty, honesty, generosity, laughter, and when they come together is when they
the friendship is magic. Well,
yeah.
That's the thing is it's the other side of the friendship is magic coin. So the friendship is magic coin is one side is friendship is magic, and the other side is the forgiveness side, because you got the 5 come together and make magic. Well, and Sunset's side, the 5 come together and they make that forgiveness and redemption thing, because you replace Twilight with Sunset, like somebody is the central one, so you have the 5 powers feeding into the main one. So instead of it feeding into Twilight's friendship magic, it feeds into Sunset's forgiveness and redemption magic.
All right. So speaking of forgiveness, I hope everybody in the chat, enjoyed the show tonight and can forgive me, for the technical difficulties we had at the beginning of the stream tonight, and B, if I wasn't able to get to your question, if it was your first time watching the stream tonight, watching the debate, I hope I earned your viewership and your subscription. I hope to see you in the chat again next time. If you would like to get on this show, I would love to have you. We just need you on the Patreon for as little as $1 a month, and there you're in the Discord server where you can, it's basically first come, first serve to get on Brony debates, and then you're on a rotation to get on my other live stream show, which is Friday Night Fights. We also do Friday Night Fights on alternating weeks of Friday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So now you know how the live stream schedule works. I'm very grateful to all of my very generous supporters on Patreon, especially those on the $10 and up tier. They are Princess Heather Blossom, Shady Oak Ministries, Sid McConroy, Autoknight, Emerald Spencer, Sodden, Girder, Senko, Kyle Christensen, DJ Skywalker, Stephen A. Wilson, Reck, Rein-Kun, Princess Sunshine Sparkle, Bootleg Bard, and Dark Malcontent, the author of the Metaverse series. Please check out all their links in the description and thank them for their support. And yeah, if you want to hang out with me some more, tomorrow night I will be on Princess of the Blossoms channel at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time reading the chat for Chaos and Crocheting. And next week is going to be Friday Night Fights. Skan and Cordero, thank you so much for coming on and having a great fight tonight.
Always.
Yep. And with that, I hope everybody has a lovely weekend. God bless, stay safe, and I will see you next time. Say goodnight, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.